The Whisper in the Woods. It was a night that carried no moonlight, and the forest outside Emma's cabin seemed unnervingly alive. She had come here for peace, for solitude, a weekend getaway from the suffocating grind of city life. The first night had been peaceful, but tonight felt different. The wind howled against the cabin walls, but it wasn't the wind that unnerved her. It was the whisper. It had started an hour ago, soft and indistinct, like the murmur of distant voices carried through the trees. At first, she thought it was just her imagination or the creaking of the old cabin settling. But as she sat in the flickering glow of the fireplace, the sound grew louder, clearer. Emma. Her blood ran cold. The whisper called her name. She stood abruptly, scanning the darkened windows. The reflection of the fire obscured the blackness beyond. She told herself it was a trick of the wind, her tired mind playing games. Still, she locked the doors and closed the curtains, her heart hammering against her ribs. As she turned to sit back down, she heard it again, closer now. "Emma!" It came from outside, just beyond the front porch. Every fiber of her being told her not to go, but the cabin suddenly felt suffocating, as if the walls were pressing in on her. She grabbed the flashlight and cautiously cracked open the door. "Hello?" she called into the night. Her voice trembled. Silence. She shone the flashlight into the dense forest, the beam cutting through the darkness. The trees swayed gently in the wind, their skeletal branches clawing at the sky. But there was no one there. She was about to retreat back inside when she noticed something in the mud just off the porch. A footprint. Large, human, barefoot. Her stomach twisted. She hadn't seen anyone since she'd arrived, and the nearest cabin was miles away. Panic surged through her, and she stepped back inside, slamming the door shut and bolting it. Then the whisper came again. "Emma, let me in." Her breath caught in her throat. The voice wasn't outside anymore. It was inside the cabin. She whirled around, the flashlight beam darting across the room. It fell on the corner of the living room, where the light didn't quite reach. And there, in the shadow, something moved. "Who's there?" she demanded, her voice cracking. The figure stepped forward, just enough for her to see. It was tall, impossibly thin, its limbs elongated and wrong, its face pale and featureless, save for a wide, lipless grin. "You shouldn't have opened the door," it said, though its mouth didn't move. Emma screamed and dropped the flashlight, plunging the room into darkness. She scrambled for the front door, but something cold and clammy wrapped around her ankle, dragging her backward. She clawed at the floorboards, her screams echoing into the night as the creature pulled her into the shadows. The next morning, the cabin stood silent. The door was wide open, the fireplace cold. No trace of Emma was ever found, except for a single footprint in the mud outside the porch, too large to be human. And if you wander near that cabin on a moonless night, you might hear it too, the whisper in the woods, calling your name.